relationship with India is so much more than just the government-to-government parts. Obviously, we have a huge Indo-Canadian community here. There's also business that's involved, educational institutions, and also civil society groups. So I think it's absolutely critical that we build that kind of connectivity, the sort of the connective tissue between the two countries. And these kinds of dialogues allow us to have a better understanding of each other, better understanding of each other's interests, priorities, and hopefully will get us to a place where we can be looking at some of the challenges as shared challenges that we can address together. So I think these dialogues have a role. It's a way for us to really get specific about what Canada has to offer, what India has to offer, and how do we move forward in the relationship and build trust with each other.
In the really volatile, unpredictable world that we find ourselves in today, I would say there are different trajectories possible for the Canada-India relationship. There is one possibility where we see a lot of upside because the complementarities in the economies and the match, between the societies, the well-established foundations for stronger linkages are all there. I could see one future in which trade and investment, which has continued to grow in the last couple of years in spite of the political challenges, grows at a much faster rate, something both countries need in today's world of trade disruption. But there's also a lot of risks and challenges still to be navigated, and so the trajectory may not be as high as it could be.
We've been through some very challenging times. We are now at a very pivotal moment where there is a lot of positivity, both from the Indian side and the Canadian side. And what I'm looking at is that the business community of both the countries are now all set to expand, to diversify, and to work with each other. This is such an important and essential part of our movement forward. My key takeaway from this is that we are all talking in one voice. So we are just hoping that together as a collective voice, we can all get the India-Canada relationship moving forward.
I've been working with the APF Canada for the last year. My sense is that this initiative, this dialogue has kept the relationship in some ways on the positive side of things. When there was no high commissioners on either side, when there was no formal conversation happening between the two sides, we had the two sides talking to each other through intermediaries of this kind, through civil societies, through former high commissioners and partners who believe that this relationship is too important to be left to the vagaries of geopolitics, as it were. This process has helped in steering the relationship towards where it is today, which is quite positive.
I think Canada-India relations are now headed in very positive territory. We've had a tough 2 years in the relationship, and now we are on the road to recovery. The business-to-business relationship, I think, is going to get even better with the tailwind from the political side.
There's clearly no hiding from the fact that it has been a challenging time. And so, where is it heading? I think that the important thing right now is to focus on where it is, because understanding and setting the baseline of where that relationship is today goes a long way to helping policymakers, policy influencers capture what they can do, whatever their objective is, to determine how to get where they want to go. If you look at 5 years ago at the low point of Canada's views towards other Asian nations, namely China, about more than half of Canadians had a positive or a favorable view of India. Today that number stands at 29%, so you really see the extent to which things have taken a tumble. In terms of trade, only about, at its height, only about 1 in 5 Canadians, about 20%, several years ago said that India is a country that Canada should pursue more trade with. Today, that number is in the single digits. So there are a lot of hurdles to clear. If the Canadian government sees this as a relationship worth pursuing, it's going to be really important to tell that story to Canadians.
In terms of the relationship, I think it's been a very fraught relationship for a number of years. We're now at a point where it looks like we're into a reset, but I think that it is a reset that is going to require a lot of work. I think that it's fragile. We need to move fast, but not too fast. We need to have momentum, but at the same time not try to jam too much into this reset too fast. But it's going to take time. And I think it's very important that we don't rush it. Make sure that we communicate with Canadians as to why this relationship is important, get Canadians on board and move forward.
Well, I think these kinds of strategic dialogues are very important to build awareness, to better understand each other, to get a better sense of what our interests are on core issues like security, energy, trade, technology, and how we can work together to advance our mutual interests. I think the international system is an interesting place right now where countries, given the challenges that they're facing, major power tensions, protectionism, weaponization of supply chains, are thinking about new partnerships, thinking about working with countries with whom they share interests and values. And I think Canada and India share that. And I think if the next 6 months to a year, if officials from both countries can set out an ambitious and future-looking pathway towards working together on the issues that I mentioned, and I think we can advance growth and mutual security interests.
I think we're at a very important juncture in the bilateral relationship, and I think if the Canada-India relationship in the past was built on aid and development, the Canada-India relationship of now and the future will be built on trade and investment, innovation and ideas, and a sense that as we talk about how we can be partners in this fluid geopolitical world, I think Canada and India will work much more closely together. Very optimistic. The important aspect of this is that it's one thing to start it, and second, we need to sustain it, and that's its real value. And I think it's a real credit to the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada that in a very troubled circumstance, it found the momentum, or to build the momentum for this dialogue, and I hope it continues in the months and years to come.
I think against the backdrop of a number of geopolitical shock events over the last few years, as well as a genuine commitment by both prime ministers from Canada and India to re-engage and take the relationship to new heights, I see the relationship going to places that it hasn't gone before. I think there's a renewed enthusiasm that picks up on a very strong depth of existing programs and relationships. And in other words, I think we're batting from a position of strength. And so let's leverage the strengths that we've got and then add as an overlay some of those new areas of focus. It could be critical minerals, it could be deep and emerging technology, areas that are of mutual interest to both countries. So that's one. The second is we have a lot more in common than we do differences. There will always be issues and irritants or things that need to be discussed, but our mutual interests and what we have in common demonstrate that we can do a lot more together as two countries than we can go it alone individually.
It's been fantastic because we've been able to bring together the private sector, the educational sector, as well as government and civil society think tankers. We've been able to take stock of where the relationship is, where we can be going. So specific things like critical minerals, right? So Canada has a lot of strength in energy security, in critical minerals, in infrastructure, and there are things that India needs and wants. So we were able to go to a fairly granular level on what those opportunities are. Same thing around the education sector. The next chapter of the relationship is going to be around research partnerships and what can we be doing together at the level of those exchanges around AI, around quantum, around issues like maritime domain awareness and so forth.